The night was about to descend, as the winds carried whispers from the distant mountains. In a quaint wooden house nestled within a quiet village, a mother wanted her children to sleep on time, but the children refused to sleep until Granny shared another of her enchanting stories. They knew their Granny's warm voice was an endless trove of fairy tales. The mother needed an early start for work, and pleaded the Granny to indulge the children. With a smile, Granny agreed, beginning a tale from her own childhood, a tale passed down by her grandmother. In the heart of the tribal mountains, where shadows danced atop the Sarkoff caves, a powerful wizard named Afrostosh lived in solitude. The Sarkoff caves were perilous, a labyrinth of jagged stones and lurking monsters. The air was damp and cold, carrying the faint stench of decay, and the flickering light of distant glowing fungi only deepened the sense of foreboding. One morning, he found a peculiar sight outside his door. A small toy kid, alive yet childlike, an orphan of mysterious origins, seemed entrusted to him by nature itself. Moved by this silent plea, Afrostosh adopted the boy, vowing to protect and nurture him. Afrostosh, aware of the dangers, worried constantly for the toy child. Yet, over time, the two formed an unbreakable bond. The toy child grew to see the wizard as his father, and Afrostosh cherished the toy kid as his son. As the boy grew older, Afrostosh knew it was time to teach him magic and make him his apprentice, so he began teaching him the ancient art of magic. But the toy kid was drawn to painting, his heart captured by the vivid colors of the world, and didn't like learning magic. Understanding his yearning, Afrostosh allowed him to split his time between spells and art. But the toy kid asked, "Why must I learn magic, father?" Afrostosh's face grew somber as he recounted the tale of the Starry Night Witch. Long ago, the witch lived peacefully, crafting potions under the starlit skies. But mischievous children from the nearby villages stole from her, shattering her potions and trust. In a fit of rage, the witch unleashed a curse, turning the children into monstrous beings. These creatures roamed the Sarkoff caves, abducting others to appease the witch's wrath and offer them to the demon of the cold night. Beneath the mountains lay a sacred lake, shimmering with an ethereal glow. Its waters rippled with hues of blue and silver, reflecting the star-strewn sky above. Here, Afrostosh's father had once trained him, and now he passed on the legacy to the toy kid. The little toy kid liked the beautiful lakeside very much and would paint sitting there for hours, enjoying the beauty of nature. The toy kid animated his paintings, bringing them briefly to life, and Afrostosh was the hero of the toy kid. The toy kid would sometimes paint portraits of the old wizard to honor his legacy. During nightfall, the peaks of the tribal mountain system would feel like dark towering entities, host to flickering shadows where no humans dare to stay except Afrostosh, the lone great wizard. Most of the monsters lurked behind the Zagbug Mount, the tallest mount of all in the Sarkoff Caves. The Sarkoff Caves, abandoned by humans, were home to countless monsters. Among them 2 stood out: Jondangar with claws like scythes and Zardozer, a creature of nightmares. The monsters of tribal mountains had terrorized the nearby villages, abducting children and haunting dreams. Afrostosh, though powerful, knew his time was limited and that in the shadows of the caves, danger stirred. The wizard knew that, being old, he didn't have much time left and had to teach the toy kid before his demise. 1 month passed since he set his canvas and painted magic tricks which the toy kid learned from him. Despite his training, the boy remained frightened of the smaller monsters Afrostosh summoned for practice. The wizard dismissed the session and advised the toy kid not to become too afraid, as soon he would face nightmares. The village people would not let their kids go to Sarkoff Mountains all alone, but somehow the toy kid made some friends. However, their parents didn't like the toy kid and forbid their kids to play or meet the toy kid. The toy kid has found some magical friends from the deep woods and would spend time with them. One day, a magical friend gifted the toy kid a page from the fabled book of the Starry Night Witch. With its dark magic, the toy kid accidentally summoned a twin, a shadowy doppelganger bound to obey him. When Afrostosh discovered this, he sternly forbade its use, warning of the dangers of unbridled power of black magic. Nonetheless, the toy kid had learned how to summon a black magic twin self of his own as a fellow who will do things for him. 2 more months passed, and the toy kid was able to cast some spells. This time, the wizard ambushed him with small monsters, and to his wonder, the toy kid managed to dismiss all the monsters. What the wizard didn't know was that the monster Zardozer was waiting in the shadows for just the right moment to snatch the toy kid. A few days after fighting monsters, the toy kid and the wizard resumed their magic sessions. The wizard then left the toy kid to fulfill his hobby of painting. As the toy kid approached his canvas, the smiley he painted on the canvas started moving and some small monsters appeared in the sky. He then sat at the canvas and started painting, unaware of his surroundings. He didn't notice that a huge monster, unlike any he had seen before, appeared in the midst of the skies with big claws, trying to reach the toy kid. The toy kid ran, and the monster Zardozer ran after him. The wizard, busy gathering his canvas and other belongings, suddenly heard strange noises. Afrostosh knew the monster had attacked the kid, so he ran to save him. Luckily, the wizard timely appeared. The creature's guttural growl reverberated through the caves. The monster didn't want to face the powerful wizard, so it ran away from the scene. The toy kid thanked the wizard for saving his life, but Afrostosh urged him to speed up learning magic, warning that one day he might not be there to protect him. A few more days passed, and the toy kid had learned enough magic tricks from the wizard. But the wizard knew that the toy kid is still no match for the bigger monsters in the Sarkoff caves. Winters arrived, and one day the wizard fell seriously ill. The toy kid asked the wizard for permission to search for some wild herbs so that the wizard could get better, but the wizard warned him that the monsters become more ferocious during the winters, so he must try to return home at all costs before night. The toy kid knew the old wizard was too weakened, so he decided to summon his dark twin to help him survive. The toy kid ventured out to gather wood to keep the wizard warm and find some herbs, and beside him wanted to summon his twin self by the lake. The sacred lake, once serene and reflective, now felt imbued with a sense of foreboding as the cold winds swept across its surface. The toy kid saw his friends, who came to meet him in the lower caves. They played a local tribal game before the kids returned home. The toy kid found herbs in the mountain and visited the lake to cast the black magic to summon his twin self. spell was near completion, the boy saw his dark twin self rising from the lake. Its form shimmered like obsidian, eyes glowing faintly with an eerie light. The toy kid was pleased but unaware of what was coming for him. The toy kid failed to return home in time, and as darkness deepened, the weather grew bitterly cold, and the lake's beauty transformed into a nightmarish expanse. The surrounding trees and rocks casting grotesque shadows. The poor toy kid felt something terribly wrong with his surroundings. Realizing he was on his own, without the powerful wizard to defend him, he hurriedly collected his canvas and other belongings to return home. On the other hand, the wizard, noticing the toy's absence, rose weakly from his bed and set out to search for him. As the toy kiddo was leaving the lakeside, he saw many small and medium-sized monsters appearing out of the fog to attack him. The toy kid opened his spell pouch and casted spells at the monsters, which made the monsters run away, disappearing back into the fog where they came from. But he only had a limited number of spells in his pouch, so he decided to test his twin to save him. As soon as he ordered the twin started helping him and casted spells to dispose of the monsters. The toy didn't know that the mother monster Jondangar would soon appear. He was about to run short on spells in his magic pouch. This was really turning into a nightmare for the poor kid. Suddenly he noticed all the small and medium monsters started running away from the scene. Toy ran to save himself when Jondangar started appearing before him. The toy kid ran, but Jondangar's claw struck him, sending him tumbling into the icy lake, its frigid waters swallowing his cries. The cold pierced his body, sapping his strength as he struggled to stay afloat. She closed in for the kill, her monstrous form radiating menace under the pale moonlight. But the twin interceded, a shadowy blur of courage and magic. Though valiant, the twin couldn't withstand Jondangar's ferocity. Its form disintegrated into dark wisps, vanishing into the ether with a haunting silence. The monster howled in victory, its claws poised to strike. It was when the wizard in a very weak shape appeared right in front of the monster, who became very surprised at the appearance of the powerful wizard. The wizard drew a big circle around him, and a ferocious fight took place between the wizard and Jondangar. Afrostosh realized he couldn't hold back the monster much longer. Summoning all his remaining strength, he channeled his life force into a sacrificial spell. The incantation burst forth, engulfing Jondangar in a blinding light, forcing her to retreat into the abyss. More small monsters were coming back at the wizard when the little toy came out of the lake and heroically confronted the monsters to save the wizard. The old wizard fell to the ground and started breathing his last. The toy kid, emerging from the lake, he begged the wizard to return home with him. But Afrostosh's time had come. With his final breath, he entrusted the boy with his legacy, urging him to find his own strength. As the first rays of dawn lit the lake, the toy kid sat beside the wizard's still form, the weight of the world pressing upon him.